Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy sixth day of May, episode number 78. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wangler and the back of John Natali. We are today promoting our new gaming partnership with the Gaming Chair and RS Gaming. That's what we are announcing this morning on the show, live right here on the National Soccer Network. As always, we're happy to have you stopping by wherever you're watching near and far, and we are excited to have you. I really do not know why John Natali has had his back. He's had his back to us this entire time. I
Mm.
think 20 minutes. I have not seen his face. Oh, what is going on?
Great
Good
balls
morning.
of fire.
Good morning, disciples.
Oh boy, Hellfire and
Pastor
Brimstone.
Natali has decided to show.
Just tell me when
Yeah.
I need to kneel and stand, okay? And I'll make sure to follow suit.
Yes, my son.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Just because of
Oh,
that, let's grab my drink here and just start drinking this morning. And
yep,
start off right.
yep.
In the Catholic Church, it's okay to
The
have a nice
the wine of
glass of
Christ,
wine.
right there.
Our
Yeah.
Johns could not be further apart right now.
All
Got one drinking on the
right.
show. We got other blessing people.
So I had to talk about this morning, and I know we're going to get into U.S. Open Cup today and talk about that. We'll get into League for Clubs as well. But we last night I got home. We were going to go have, what do you do on Cinco de Mayo? Right, you go and you want to have some tacos, right? You want to have some chips and salsa, maybe a margarita.
Father, what do you
Well,
do on Cinco de Mayo?
yeah, what do you do on Cinco de Mayo, Father?
I don't know. It was
Service.
Monday to me. It was. I feel like Rocky. To you it's Cinco de Mayo. To me it's Monday.
So so we drive by this restaurant in Michigan called Azteca. It's packed. I don't have any interest in waiting. So what do you do? What's the next best thing?
Taco
Longhorn Steak,
Bell.
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, eh,
so right across
another
the
one in
street.
there. Yep.
Yep. So we get to the wife. She orders a margarita. We have our dinner. We're on our way home. She's like, I really wanted to try this. I guess this is rock tequila called Termino or something like that. So, anyways, she's like, I want to try that. I said, okay. So, went to the liquor store and she's picking it up, and then she's like, hey, do you guys have to have spiritless liquor? And I'm like, what is spiritless liquor? And they're like, well, it's like there's no alcohol in it. I go, that just seems,
There's just no spirit.
yeah, this is no. I'm like, and
Boy,
again,
that
and if
that doesn't sound like a fun alcohol. It took the spirit
no,
right out of
so
that one.
so so for full disclosure, obviously, I have type 2 diabetes, so I don't drink alcohol anymore. So I used to be a big bourbon drinker. I like my whiskey, right? I had this here. I was trying to look at the label earlier today. But so this is called Kentucky 74. Okay. It's spiritless whiskey, bourbon. Okay. Distilled non-alcoholic spirit for bourbon cocktails. Okay. That's what this is. So it has 15 calories in it. It's got 2% sugar, like 1 gram, and 4 carbohydrates or 1% carbohydrate. I mean, a very healthy drink. Now, I have not tried it. It's only, 9 o'clock in the morning. So I don't feel like even it'd be a good idea to even take on this challenge right now. But how much do you think this cost? This bottle of Kentucky 74 spiritless bourbon.
How many ounces is it?
It's 700 milliliters.
I'll go. God, I feel like the price is right, and I don't. And I'm gonna fall over the cliff. I'm gonna say $59.99.
Wow, he went high. He went really high. Now, Nathan, I know we already did this challenge.
Yeah, my prediction
Oh
before
well,
the, well, so I had a prediction. I did have a prediction. I'll just go back to what I said when he first asked me, which I didn't know it at that point. I actually said right around $30. I thought it maybe just a little bit lighter than that, but something around like where, yeah. I mean, that's like actual alcohol sales there. So I mean, they're trying to bring the whole experience together: the look, the marketing, maybe the
Yeah,
taste a little bit, and the price.
35.
You're paying the same price. It's like nothing
I
changed.
I know coffee firm just made this comment. It's like spiritless bourbon. Oops, without it's like coffee without coffee. Actually, this is like just unleaded. Is what this is. This is like unleaded.
I'm gonna pre-warn
Decaf.
you this, Jonathan, is that please do not cross into Kentucky with that bottle in your possession.
Mm,
It came from
mm.
Kentucky.
I understand that, and that's why
You're a
it's in
faker,
your
man.
hands now.
I was thinking about going in the hills of Kentucky in the
Don't,
backwoods and
don't,
taking this bottle
don't.
with me.
That would be your only defense right there, and then they'd steal it and start beating you with it, and then they'd break it.
Is this my moonshine? Um. Anyways, I thought it's funny, you know. So if you see me acting funny today, it's because I tried my Kentucky 74.
Wait, yesterday?
No, I haven't tried. I haven't even opened it up yet. It's still,
Oh,
yeah.
oh. So if we see
I'm
you
thinking.
I
I'm,
love
later,
I'm
how
think.
I love how close they're getting with emulating what the real liquor looks like. Because I know they got those like the sparkling juice like wine bottle things. I've seen those before.
seltzers.
Yes, there you go. I've never seen anything comparable to what you have, JT. So now I'm actually interested on what, do you mix something in there? Do you drink it on the rocks? Like what is I don't know.
Yeah,
Are
I,
you
I
gonna
don't. I
are
don't
you
know how
gonna
else to
try
do it.
it? Are you gonna try it, or are you just
I
Not,
gonna?
would love to try
not,
it.
not right now.
I
I
didn't
mean,
say now, but I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
eventually. Will you pop the
Yeah,
twist the twist
I
off?
actually think I'll do a video of it. I'll probably record the whole thing, put it on
There's
our like, hey,
technically nothing wrong with it now.
I
You
know
go
that,
ahead,
but it just doesn't
you know.
seem right. It doesn't seem right. I think it might
Just
seem like
take
I
a
have a
pull out of the
problem if I start
bottle.
drinking
Just take
this.
a pull out of the bottle, and I'll just clip that one and post it on social media.
I got my bowl of cereal right here, and I got my Kentucky 74 right next to me. It just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right.
Good start to the day.
Yeah, but anyways, so big announcement. Big announcement. Huh? We obviously have John Natali, the man of
Pastor,
cloth, the man of cloth
Pastor
over here
Natali.
to our right,
That's from a
over
man.
here.
This is from my man Peter the other day when he said Pastor Natali. So that we I call him a good friend, Coach, and he has a lot of these costumes, so he let me borrow it, and we'll do this morning.
Yeah. I don't. Is it? I know there's something they call it. Was it stolen valor? Is there something like that in the religious sector where you're
What are
taking
you gonna
credit
do?
for? I
Kick me
mean,
out of the church that I'm not in?
well, no. I
We
know
welcome you
stolen
in,
valor
just
is a.
boot you out.
So big announcement. So a few weeks back, every day I seem to get in my email. I get a lot of different things about collaborations, and affiliates and things like that. And a few weeks back, I'd gotten this email from an organization called the Soccer Hooligans, and they're a new platform that is kind of a more of a news site, and they had reached out about collabing on our show about our Inside the Game, and and what that entails is us partnering with them on Spotify and on all the listening platforms, and more importantly with our video getting up onto the platform as well. So we're really excited about this partnership, and what it means is just more exposure for this show. It means more exposure for our platform, and hopefully as we continue to collaborate, the Soccer Hooligans and National Soccer Network, well, that'll also in turn create opportunities for news articles and things like that. So we're really excited about that. Matter of fact, Henry and Belton, who was just in our comment section here a few moments ago, he's the one who reached out to me. We've had some really good conversations, and we're really looking forward to what this partnership could look like. And what it means is that you just be able to consume what we're doing, in more ways than you have before. And so right now we are up on Spotify, we are up on Apple Podcast, well, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. We are in, the partner program. So that means that there's going to be a lot of exposure for us on this platform. And we're really excited about that. So we really do think we have a really good show. And as you know, it's a grind, right? Each and every day is a grind. That's why we continue to do what we do, and hopefully it will just continue to improve what we're doing, and allow us to take this thing to a whole new level, and we're again excited about that. But it is Tuesday. It is 9, was it 9:10, 9:11, something like that here in the morning. Big day in soccer land today. U.S. Open Cup gets back underway here today. Round of 32 is going to get back underway. And, a lot of games today. We've got North Carolina FC versus Charlotte, DC United versus Charleston Battery, Nashville versus Chattanooga Red Wolves, Colorado Springs versus New York Red Bulls, Tacoma Defiance versus Portland, Pittsburgh Riverhounds versus New York City, Rhode Island. Sorry, actually, Pittsburgh is tomorrow. But we have, I think, 5 games today. And I think I want to talk about is that this is when the MLS teams get involved, right? This is when MLS land starts to happen. And obviously we were just talking about Indy 11 here, John, before we went on the air. And you obviously are talking about how this year maybe the Indy's not the same team as they were last year, and there's some struggling there. And obviously every year you're going to see the ebb and flows and the ups and downs of teams as they figure out their personnel and their rosters and all that kind of stuff. But this is the part of the U.S. Open Cup where actually you could argue that you would favor potentially a non-MLS team right now because again, I don't think that these MLS sides are going to give it the love, tender, and care and admiration as if this was a final, right? So we're going to see a lot of backups playing today, right? We're going to see a lot of reserves coming in, players that maybe don't typically see a ton of minutes in their MLS rosters. We're going to see them on the field today playing against, in a lot of scenarios, number ones of these teams. And again, even USL championship teams and MLS next teams will not necessarily field their entire first team roster, right? We know that. So I'm just curious your thoughts on today's matchups to these next 2 days and how these things will shake up.
Who's going?
I can go first if you want. I thought it was asking you, John, but no, me personally, listen, it's hard, right? Because the reigning champs from last year, right, LAFC, will not be a part of it, right? So they're not going to be back in it. I do think it's interesting. Greg Berhalter will be a part of it. Chicago Fire is looking for, I think, to be the first MLS club to win. I think it was 5 Open Cup trophies. So I think that's certainly interesting. There's a lot of teams in that grouping that aren't MLS squads that made a lot of noise. I mean, you looked at the Chattanooga Red Wolves and what they were able to pull off, and even their matchup in state against the other Tennessee team that brought out, just an insane amount of people. There's a lot of exciting teams in the mix, but I circle back and I always reflect on the earlier conversations that we had about this cup and how the MLS, for one reason or the other, whether it be because the prize money isn't there, whether it be because they don't want to risk injuring anybody for, what is the ultimate goal, which is going out and winning an MLS Cup. They also don't want to get, their best players burnt. There's also that other element of, there's a lot of fun storylines, and it'll be cool to, see Greg Berhalter back, on the TV screen, and it'll be, to see a non-MLS side potentially make it. Doesn't happen a whole lot. The MLS, normally dominate even with their backup guys. But there's always that other thought, you're right, in the back of your head, JT, of is this the best possible product on the field? And to be completely honest with you, it's not. I mean, I think it's fun. I think it gets soccer fans engaged, specifically if there was a game nearby. I mean, I would certainly make an effort to go out and watch. As Michael chips in with a good morning. What's up, Mike? But the level of talent that's on the field right now, I think it's hard to get behind it because you realize that maybe the best of the best isn't involved. And it goes back to this whole half in, half out mentality from the MLS and how they're just kind of able to just jump in halfway through. It's the weirdest arrangement in the world. It's the most confusing arrangement. And frankly, I mean, to think that you get a couple of rounds in and now all of a sudden you're going to start sprinkling MLS teams in. They didn't even have to compete in the first couple of rounds. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they're still interesting games. I love underdogs. I mean, I'll watch a game where there's a massive underdog each and every single time, especially if it's a single elimination game. I mean, I think that's the other thing that's nice is that it's one and you're done. I mean, this isn't a situation where you're guaranteed 2 games or it's a series. Obviously, it's soccer, so it's a little bit different. But I'm always for elimination postseason play. But also, what does it prove at the end of the day? The thing that upsets me is, like, let's say an MLS squad goes on to win this. Is it really really that much of a resume builder? I mean, can you really put that one down and go, yeah, we won a U.S. Open Cup? That's a big deal. Because I just don't think, frankly, and you said this too, JT, I don't know if they really care all that much. It would mean a heck of a lot more for someone like the Red Wolves or another team that isn't a MLS side to go out and win it, but that just doesn't happen too often. So we get to the end of the line and MLS team wins it, and we all just kind of clap our hands and move on. Like that to me, it's a cool thing. I mean, obviously it's the oldest soccer tournament in the history of the country, but what does it really prove to us? What does it really show us at the end of the day if the best of the best aren't really all that invested in playing in it?
I think with the MLS side is I think they have just it backwards because we know that they're automatically in, they start in a round of 32, right? But why are these teams, these smaller teams, your Indy 11s, your Detroit FCs, these USL Championship teams, there's going to be probably some MPSL teams in there or MPSL teams or whatever, but why are they going to the homes of MLS? Wouldn't it be more intriguing for fans and for the sport itself to have Philadelphia come to Indianapolis, to have Chicago come to Detroit?
Yes.
Why don't they? Because they have more funds of anything. And now they're forcing these teams, USL Championship teams, who are maybe breaking even, maybe a little bit of profit here and there, but no fan base whatsoever. And you know that those MLS teams are going to draw no matter who it is. If it's their B team, C team, whoever shows up, but just the name itself is going to draw. I know Michael A. Carroll Stadium. If they hosted any MLS team, I would probably guarantee a sellout, probably 12,000 people there. But they're going to go to Philadelphia. The Philadelphia fans are going to give a horse's patoot about it. It's like, all right, well, like you just said, Nathan, is okay. We're if we win, we win. If we lose, okay, we have the New England Revolution next week, so we got to worry about that. I just think they have the formatting wrong in order to, Jonathan, you've talked about this, what are those little things that the sport can do, incentive-wise, everything like that. Make them go to make them be the away team. If they get a first round bye like they do, then make them go on the road for their first game. That's a little thing, but I think it would work.
I really like what the coffee firm says here. He goes, I've always said the higher league team should play on the road. The gate helps the lower league teams. I mean, let's consider if you just do a couple of games, right? Let's just say just one game where you have an MLS team, or maybe you got a couple of them. Just the gate itself, how much you would pull in from just that, and then concessions and just the experience of having all of that when you have those thousands of people, that could actually impact a club for a long time. I mean, that could be something that could actually really make a dent. And if they're looking at their finances and what they have to spend everything on, and how expensive, I mean, we talked about it in length, JT, how expensive it is. Something as simple as that could really help out in that regard too. So if we're thinking about the little guy here, how do we help him out while keeping, obviously they talked about brand awareness, and that was something that Michael actually mentioned here was, it is still important for the MLS teams to get guys who rarely log minutes, brand exposure, all that stuff, but we can help both sides at the same exact time, right? We can help the little guys draw in more fans, but we can also help the MLS side at the same exact time. Coffee Firm also chips in with Beckham can afford to send a team to San Fran versus El Farolito, sending their side to Miami.
But I think it's important to say that the U.S. Open Cup, the whole idea of it is to allow this opportunity for the lower level team, the lower league team, to have a fighting chance, right? That this whole thing was created where you have the professional environment, but you have a team like El Farolito, for example, who can win a couple games and actually go and maybe go on a run and have some success, right? And I feel like that their win and even their losses are in vain, right? Because they're fighting, because this is unbelievable. This is this opportunity to go out and play in this tournament and to fight against a USL championship team, right? Even MLS side, right? And then all of a sudden they lose their game. The next game, the team that they played against, who beat them, will now go and play against an MLS side who will not field their entire squad, will field a bunch of backups, right? And that USL championship team will probably end up losing, right? Just because, again, you look at the talent level, right? Okay, boom, right? So they lose. So it's like, because think about this, right? When we lose a game, let's just argument's sake, the Pistons lost to the Knicks here in basketball. Well, as a Pistons fan, obviously we're done. We want to win, but who do you want to win the whole thing now? Well, realistically, you want the team who beat you to go on and win it, right? I mean that otherwise, go Knicks, win the whole thing, right? I'm not saying I'm rooting for the Knicks, but I'm saying, you're like, okay, well, the Knicks should go win this thing, Knicks, because you just beat us, right? I feel that makes I mean, I'm just saying, okay, you lost to the champion, that I feel like that actually is something to a team that loses. But you're gonna like there are teams like in the UPSL, for example, that they can't afford to go to the national championship, so they beat a team in the whatever round. They can't afford to go to the national championship, so another team will go in its place, and it might not be that team that they beat that they lost they lost to, right? So that is weak. So my point is that it's like I feel like these losses are in vain. I feel like because these teams are trying to win and put everything they have into it, and the other teams don't,
Yeah.
that it's like
Right.
BS.
Right.
And again, I get it. I mean, I understand why this is not as an important thing. I mean, to be fair, the USL Championship teams probably don't also see it as valuable as these other teams. And again, because they're in the league battle, they're battling for a chance to play in a playoff, which again, being honest, if you're putting on the hierarchy of your calendar every year, what is it you're trying to, well, win league, playoffs, championship? I mean, like that would be like the thing. Is US Open Cup a thing that the team puts on their board and says, we want to win this thing? I'm curious. I would love to know how many teams put US Open Cup championship trophy on their goal board every year. You know what I mean? And I understand there's a brand thing too. Like I know that, Michael was talking about this, that there's a brand for players, but if you were to ask those players at the beginning of the season, playing in a round of 32, 11, is that on their goal list? Or is it round, starting 11, versus Columbus Crew, you know? I mean, like in game three of this, I mean, my guess would be that, the US Open Cup might not even be that thing that they're even thinking about. Like, I mean, so I
Yep.
just, it's an afterthought, right? It's not. It's a passive thing. This is not a game. These are not games in which these teams are like. And I'm not saying that they don't care because I don't want to be like that. But it comes from this perspective that these teams. It's the same as the FA Cup. Spurs are playing their full squad. Spurs, yeah, I know that. I get that. But soccer here is still different than over there. You're talking about a group of people over across the pond that will still fill those stands. Those games will be completely full. There will not be an empty stadium for those games.
Mhm.
And tell me if I'm wrong.
Mm.
But you come here and you see Philadelphia tomorrow night, Indy 11, that stadium is going to be empty. It is going to be empty.
Mm.
That's the difference. So the fan, and where's the disconnect? Like, where's the disconnect? Where is the fan who loves their local team, El Farolito? Well, why aren't they going and watching the games continuing on? Are they not a fan of soccer, or are they only a fan of their team? Right? Like, I mean, think about this. If you're telling me right now the FA Cup, if you lived in England, you know, you live there, you're telling me you're as a fan, you're not going to like, if your team loses, you're still not going to try and go to the final, which is in your city. You're not going to like try and get in the stand, get in that game. It's like the hottest ticket in town. I don't see that being the thing here. Where are you, soccer fans? Why are you filling these stadiums up? Why? Why are you filling it up for your Philadelphia Union against the Columbus Crew? But you're not going to fill it up against Philadelphia Union versus Indy 11. What is the difference? What's the difference? What? Because you're not seeing some superstar from Columbus you've never met before. I mean, you're still watching a soccer game, which is an elimination game. Why aren't they there? So I'm pissed off not just at the teams for not giving as much of a shit as I am the fans too. What? So Indy 11's gonna have 12,000 people in their stands because they're playing against an MLS team? But if they're playing against, I don't know, some other team, they're not going to fill the stands up. I mean, you said 12,000 fans would probably show up for that game, right? And when the MLS side was here for Columbus Crew a couple years back, that stadium had 7,000 people in it, and they fill it up 5,000 to 6,000 every game. Detroit City does a pretty good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys fill 12,000 seats for every game?
No.
Okay, this is the part that drives me nuts. What about this is more appealing than a regular game, or less appealing?
I can. So, just for example, this past Saturday, the 11 had a match, and it was at home, and there were two other things going on, and it's people. It's unfortunate, and we've tried to talk about this before as far as like Indiana is concerned. I can't speak for Michigan, I can't speak for Ohio very much or whatever, but just soccer is such on the lower end of the totem pole here. And 45 minutes south of us, we have one of the, if not the most prestigious D1 soccer programs in the country in Indiana. 8 championships, and just always in a tournament, always getting the round of 4. They're just dominant. I mean, people go to Bloomington. It's like people going to Notre Dame for football. They come to Bloomington for soccer. If you want some sort of soccer prestigiousness, go to IU. But it's basketball again, football, high school basketball, and then maybe soccer and or baseball teeters on that thing. The Indy 11, I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. The staff is great, the administrative staff, the owners, everything. They try to put as much as into it, but they become complacent of how they advertise themselves because they're the big dog. They're the only thing here. But there is quality soccer around it. Jonathan, you just landed a great deal with FC Pride Elite. You should see their facility. Their facility is better than Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Their turf is better than Michael A. Carroll Stadium. It's amazing. But who knows about it? Not a lot of people. Because it's just they don't find that niche to go get it. I mean, Detroit FC or Detroit City FC, how long have they been around?
I want 2012.
So
I'd
like
have to look.
13, 14 years or something like that. So
I mean,
it's a
when they
gradual.
first started, they kind of started off, like I said, as just kind of like this friend team
Yeah,
thing, and that.
yeah.
But I want to say it's like 12 years. Again, coffee firm. They might know that. I don't know the exact year they started. It might have been maybe even early, maybe like 2010. But I think it's 2012. But no,
That's when the 11 started.
but here's my thing though, right? My thing is that we're talking about, okay, so the Detroit Red Wings, okay, hockey, it used to be Hockey Town, right? And obviously they've been struggling for many years and they haven't made a playoffs. They went 25 straight years of making the playoffs. The house is always packed, right? They moved from Joe Louis to Little Caesars Arena. Great, okay. Always packed. There's something to be said about fair weather fans. There's something to be said about that. I get it, okay. But this is the US Open Cup is the single, like, the oldest soccer tournament in the country, right? We know that. It is single elimination. So every game there has to be a winner. Like there has to be a winner, right? So it's going to go to penalty shootout if it's tied after 15-minute overtime periods, right? We know that. That this is the most exciting thing in soccer is when you have to have a winner. Fans would want to go to that. I mean, to be fair, the games like the round robin in the group stage play in the World Cup, as great as that is, there's nothing greater than when you get out of group play and you get into elimination rounds because it's win or go home. It's do or die.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people wouldn't want to be there to watch that. And to
I
be
would I
fair,
would I
the
would think,
teams are
yeah.
probably charging less money for these games.
You know what, JT,
Sure.
you make a great point, and I want to piggyback on that. Is when we watch the World Cup, and we'll see it next year, whenever it's abroad or international, wherever it is, how excited we get when they're playing in Tokyo or they're playing in France or they're playing in Europe somewhere or whatever, and we see the stadiums. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Nigeria versus the Netherlands, and just wall to wall people, thousands and thousands of people, because they're not watching the teams, they're appreciating the game. They're appreciating the best players from those respective countries, give them credit, but they're seeing the best soccer in the world.
Mhm.
Here, nobody is getting excited like from England or France or Spain or any place like that to be, oh, I can't wait to watch some American footy and see Philadelphia SC take on the Indy 11 because that's going to get me hyped with the crowd. Not even close.
Right.
So I'm hoping that what the Women's World Cup did a few years ago in France when they won the gold medal, and how it really just put a shockwave into U.S. women's soccer. Now you see the huge expansion of the WPSL and the NWSL, and how just the women's game has grown exponentially in that time. I can only pray that that's what happens next year here when they're playing at stadiums like Arrowhead and SoFi and MetLife and all these huge stadiums. I'm hoping that the fans don't go just to see Italy, just to see Germany, just to see Japan, whoever it is, that they're going to see soccer, the best soccer in the world here on our turf, and that it can draw. If we see that, then we have a foundation. Look, you guys, we did it. We saw it. We saw 75,000 people at MetLife Stadium. So why are we not doing this all the time? Was it just because you wanted to go to the World Cup or because you wanted to see soccer? Plain and simple.
Right. And
Yeah, but
I'll touch on this really quickly. I know you got something to say here, John. I'm trying to find a way because in talking about all this, my thing is, yeah, people care about their teams, but I was trying to find a reason as to why that might be, why it might not fill up. You talk about logistics. Okay, well, they have to spend money to go travel to the MLS team to watch their side, and maybe they're not the most excited about it because they realize how that might go. And on the MLS side, they realize they might not be watching the best talent in the world on the other side. So maybe that's not why they're invested. But none of that really says much when you consider the fact that we have college football teams that have spring games and they sell 80, 90,000 tickets. Like it has a lot to do with the cultural side. And we're just not going to escape that. I realize that it's hard for us to admit that, but that's something that John brought up because the truth is listen, people want to watch the highest, most competitive, best brand of the sport that it is that we are talking about. I understand that it's discouraging to see that. I understand that with what we do, we see the game at all levels. And even when we go and we cover a USL or a UPSL or an MLS Next, we're seeing the game on the field and we're appreciating it for what it is because it's what we do. But there's that other side to it too. And I'll bring up a memory here. It's actually the time I got the sunburn that we talked about a few weeks ago. I was in Ann Arbor before Michigan State, and we walked into, they got this little Irish pub downtown Ann Arbor, great place. We go in there. First thing I see is a sea of red and white. I walk in there, and it's just red and white everywhere, and I'm like, whoa, okay, loud. I mean, people chanting, people jumping around. We sit down, and I see it's Tottenham's playing, and they're trying to get their Premier League title. And so that game's just about ready to get under Tottenham, and I believe it was Liverpool, I think, that played each other, but they were just about ready to play. But this place is filled to the brim, and I'm sitting here and I'm kind of looking around. And I'm going, wow, okay, so there are pockets of very passionate soccer fans, even here in the United States. But I think something that Michael mentioned here, and I think this is really important, really, really important to notice here. Most professional soccer clubs are so new, they lack the generations of history compared to that of other sports, college or professional. Sadly, it will take time before soccer clubs establish themselves as first choice and options. And that's true. The history that runs with some of these clubs when you look at Europe is so deep. It's been going on for so long. I mean, there are generations and generations of families who have invested time and money into following these teams and these clubs that's even bled over into the United States. And we admit, I mean, we're a melting pot, right? I mean, that's what makes us great, but it can also maybe pull away from what we're trying to do here domestically because people are so emotionally attached to these teams. And then you look at some of the other sports we have in the U.S. I mean, baseball, I mean, heck, I mean, like you go back to the late 1800s. I mean, it's been around for that long, and even some of the other sports. I think there is some of that going on as well. I think the history factors into it. I also think it's the level of play too. People want to see the best soccer available. And unfortunately, and John, I know you, John Natale, you mentioned on a previous show, how do we market the superstars in our game? I'm just going to throw this out there. Outside of Messi, who's the superstar in our game that we're marketing in the MLS?
Nobody.
Who's the
Nobody.
superstar?
I mean, I know Christian Pulisic has Puma kid shoes.
Yeah,
I know that.
I got to interject here. And I don't disagree with what you're saying, but if we're talking about a soccer fan, okay, uh, if we're talking about a fan, okay, there are 14 million people that play soccer in this country, and for the 14 million that play it, there are probably moms, dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends of that who would support them and go watch them play, right? That's how many people play in this country. 14 million. Okay. You don't need to have fans of a team. If you love the game of soccer, you should want to go watch the game of soccer. I mean, we have 700 people showing up to watch an amateur men's soccer game in Lansing, Michigan. Okay. Not because they love, I mean, yeah, they love the team, right? They fell in love with the team. But I would also imagine on some level, they love the game of soccer, right? And so you like to think that a majority of those people would also go watch another soccer game if it was available in their town. Now, granted, if Lansing Common is playing at the exact same time as another team, that's not going to happen. But I can guarantee you that those same people who love their team in Lansing are paying attention to the rest of the teams in their league. They're watching them on YouTube. They're watching whether they're watching them. The soccer fans in this country need to wake up. Go watch these games.
You know what I think?
You can't argue. You can't tell me that the game tomorrow night isn't a high quality game in Philadelphia. Of course, it's a high level game. It is the highest level game that'll be available tomorrow in that state. I mean, it's the highest level. There's nothing higher than that game tomorrow in the state of Philadelphia, unless I think Pittsburgh is playing tomorrow too. But I don't know if they're playing. I don't think they're playing in Pittsburgh. But you get my point.
Mhm.
That's the highest level. So you're telling me, and again, they're gonna. I don't know how many seats that stadium has. Probably 19,000. 5,000 will show up to that game.
Subaru Center. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 5,000 will show up. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't care how new the teams are. Okay, because let's be honest. In 12 months, everybody in the world is a fan of soccer. Everybody. There'll be in America. There'll be 300 million soccer fans. There's 330 that live here, right? 300 million will be soccer fans. The other 30 are too young to even know what soccer is. Right? So 300 million fans. We all love soccer. All love it. Woo, yay, soccer. Right? And then we'll go back. We'll go backwards again. I mean, if we're not seeing it now, you're telling me we can't fill a stadium for an elimination game in U.S. Open Cup? Like these people don't know what these games are? Like, I find it hard to believe that the soccer player in 2025 who's playing for club whatever in Philadelphia isn't aware of a U.S. Open Cup game taking place tomorrow night at that stadium in Philadelphia and why they can't fill the stands.
I would say yes, but I would also say this. I don't think it translates directly. I just don't. I'm a huge fan of the NBA.
Everywhere else
I'm a huge fan of college basketball. I'm not going to go watch an AAU showcase, Jonathan Turner. I'm not. So
this isn't AAU though.
But there are other leagues. There are other good leagues that are around that play the game of basketball that I'm not. Anyways. But John, what do you have to add?
I want to play a numbers game because you think about. Let's talk about the four major sports here in NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and NHL. 17 82, 82, 162. Why does the NFL generate so much? Because they only play 17 games. It's not base. I mean, you go to a baseball game, gosh, there's 162 of them, 81 of them at home. Nate, you deal with it. You'll see crowds on fireworks night. You'll see it on promotions night. But do you see how many does your stadium hold for the Whitecaps?
95 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll, like on a fireworks night, 4th of July, you'll have 9,500 people there.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, is there going to be 95? No, because those people know they're going to go on Saturday. They're going to see the same thing, basically. Okay, we might have a pitching duel. Someone's going to get out of us something. There's too much inconsistency in baseball to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Football, the NFL, it's almost like an elimination, John, is that you have one shot. Like, there's only 17 games to prove yourself to do well. In baseball, you can joke around and fling off or whatever from April until August and then have a run. We've seen it year after year after year where a team will just be 4th, 3rd place, 10, 11 games behind. Someone blows it. Next thing you know, they're done because they only have to start playing at the end of the summer. Basketball is the same way. You can lollygag, you can find your thing. That's why they have free agency and everything during the season and trade deadlines and everything. Okay, well, now I'm going to make my team better. We suck now, but now we got this player. Oh, look what we did. We're 22-7. Hey, Lakers, prime example, Luka. Lakers were garbage. And then they got Luka and had one of the best records heading on into the second half. Hockey's the same way. But football, if you start 0-4, boy, do you have to play some badass football for the next 14 weeks in order to even try to get into the playoffs. And with soccer, I believe with the USL Championship, it's 35 games. Is that too many? Are we giving them too much soccer? Or should we lower that number to try to anticipate, okay, yes, now we're playing 25 games and we're playing every other 2 weeks. So you come to this one, here's your promotion, here's your whatever it is, but give them time to rest. You don't have to stack it on top of each other.
I think I don't disagree with your numbers thing, but I think this is the equivalent of an NHL. Okay, I think if we parse out regular season play for a moment and just kind of move that away, okay. I mean the Pro Bowl every year is a joke. It's a joke.
Flag
I don't.
football. It's turned
Yeah,
into flag football.
it's a joke, and the viewership on that thing is way down.
Mhm.
Because if it wasn't way down, it would be more. So they don't put as much into that. Okay. The NHL All-Star thing, right? They decided to do away with that completely this past year. And what they moved to? They moved to a tournament. And that tournament, right, that was a highly successful thing because it made it this elimination type thing. It was really exciting. It made it really fun, right? It was unbelievable, right? Now, huge success. Okay. Again, if I look at this and say, okay, the regular season, you were spot on. Okay, there's 162 baseball games. There's 35 USL championship games. Great. This is single elimination. You have to win or you go home. There is nothing greater in sport than single elimination. Nothing. There's nothing better than that.
But I'm going to counter that with your example of the Pro Bowl. Is the U.S. Cup to the teams that are in it now? Because you have 16 MLS teams. You have 11 USL Championship teams. You have 4 USL 1 teams. And you have 1 MLS Next Pro team. Who's the underdog? That MLS Next team? I mean, where does that, hey, El Ferrito or Southern Indiana FC, where is that? They're done. They're already done. It's all big boys. And when you look at the Pro Bowl, how many people, the viewership is down. Now, the best players get announced for that, but who ends up showing up? I think I got called for the Pro Bowl last year because 6 players didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I think that's the equivalent of what this U.S. Cup is that you're not seeing the best players.
In order, yeah.
And you're not seeing
in
Just
order for
because the
Um,
team is there, you're not seeing the best product on the field, and that's to me that's the Pro Bowl. And
yeah, again, I don't disagree with the quality of the play. I don't. Again, I don't, I'm not. I agree with you because yes, and we can talk about marketability. We can talk about all that stuff, but I'll keep going back to this. It is single elimination, right? Single elimination, and let's be honest. March Madness every year, there's a team that comes out of the Horizon League, out of the MAC, right? Out of whatever other mid-major, conference, right? And let's be
A10.
honest. Let's be honest. Those teams don't have a really, in most cases, don't have a fighting chance. They come in, and yeah, there's the underdog stories and things like that, but they're coming in because they won their conference, and their conference a lot of times can be weaker than most, right? And so, do those stadiums fill up? If you watch those early rounds of March Madness, especially those 16 seeds, those games are not packed. They're not always
No,
full to the brim.
no.
They are not full stadiums. Okay, and so why is that? Because again, it's not Kentucky playing Duke, right? That's going to have a sellout because Kentucky playing Duke's a big deal, right? Michigan State playing Michigan, big deal. I understand that, but I think soccer is one of those different sports, and the reason why I say this is that if you love the game, okay, and obviously there's local fans things like that, but if you have a love and a passion for this game, you're going to go watch soccer wherever you can get it. I'm a firm believer in that. You can't do that necessarily in football because football is only available 17 weeks a year. And obviously with college, but I mean, like, let's be honest. I mean, for 8 months a year, there's no football. You can't consume football 12 months a year. Soccer is a consumable 12 months a year. You watch it everywhere. If you're not watching it in England, you're watching it here.
But
I
don't you
just find it
think?
hard to believe that there's not 20,000 fans that want to go watch a U.S. Open Cup game on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night
But think
where the
about
winner
that
goes on and loser goes home.
because the NFL, yes, the NFL is only 8 months here, but now look at the UFL. Have you ever
No
watched?
one go watch those games.
I know that's what I'm talking about. It's
that's
like
the point. Yeah,
we're trying
there's
here.
too much of it.
Here's football for 8 months, but because it's our number one sport here in the states, we're going to throw more down your throat. And
Right.
they have to pump in crowd. It's
Fans
so
don't want
funny.
more. Fans don't want more football though. They
I
they
know
don't
that.
want
That's
more.
why the
They're happy with the
XFL
football
got
they've
kicked
got.
out. Even the IFL. I mean, what we're doing here in Indy with our new Fisher's Freight, it's exciting. You know, the building holds about 6,000 people. We had about 5,500 people there the other night, but it's different. It's 7-on-7. It's 50 yards, and the goalposts are a lot shorter, and it's hard hitting. The balls go in the stands and everything. So it's more of a novelty football game than anything. But how quickly the XFL, we're going to combine. How the hell are you going to combine wrestling and football into one thing? That dropped off. With the UFL, I was watching the Birmingham Stallions versus the Memphis Steamboats, and there was a touchdown in the corner. Crowd went nuts, but you looked at the stands. They showed a thing of there was nobody there, so they're pumping in fan noise. And I don't if you can't get the number one sport year round to be successful, how are you going to do it with like
But
the
this isn't
fifth
in the
most
middle of their
popular sport?
season. This isn't like off
I know
season.
that, but that's
This is in
the
the
point. Like,
middle of like
how do you get that fifth most popular sport
the
in the
Club World
United
Cup is
States?
coming to the United States here in less than a month.
Yes,
The Club World Cup is coming here to the United States. I can guarantee you those stadiums are going to be packed.
I know that. I 100% agree with you
And again, in the middle of an MLS season, in the middle of soccer in this country, and they're all going to be filled.
because no one cares
All of
about the
them.
MLS.
But
I mean,
again,
the bottom
when
line.
and those are going to be a bulk of those people watching those games are going to be people from the America. People go watch it. Oh my God, this is awesome. We're going to watch. This is great. We're going to watch this game, but they're not going to go watch the U.S. Open Cup game, which is like a $20 ticket on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night. I
I th-
find it to be somewhat disingenuous, and I think that we're selling ourselves short in soccer if we can't get 20,000 people to go to a single elimination game in which, again, you're fighting for a trophy.
The teams have to take it seriously for the fans to take it seriously.
Well, no, again, I don't necessarily agree with that, though.
I
I don't agree with
mean,
that. The reason why I say that is that the teams might not take it seriously. Okay, but again, I look at it from the same standpoint of um. I don't know where to go with this now after you made that statement because I'm like I understand that there's a part of this where the teams themselves, I get it, but at the same token, same thing is that these fans who go to watch fireworks on a Friday night at a baseball game, okay, because they're going to go in and watch that game, and the byproduct of that is baseball. The fireworks is the what do you call it? The fireworks of these games is the fact that there's a chance that this thing could go on to a penalty shootout. The fireworks of this game is that there's a chance that your team, the underdog, regardless of how serious you take it, could maybe go on and win. There's these components to single. Again, I'm not talking about regular season games. I look at it and say this is a single elimination environment, right? There's nothing in sport that's better than that. Game 7 of the world of whatever playoff, right? Game 7, like a game 7, there's nothing better than that.
Right, but the best players available are playing in it.
And
That's
it's weird
I don't think these fans know that though. I don't think you just said we don't know what superstars are. I don't think the average soccer fan going to watch the Philadelphia Union truly know the roster. I think
no.
that we're making it sound like these people know this. They don't know this stuff. They don't know who's playing on these teams.
I want to ride with you on this train, JT, because I think if you just take a novice soccer fan here and you spit out the names like Juventus, Bayern, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man U, Man City, people are going to know who they are. Maybe not know a player on the roster, but they're going to know who they are. But then you start saying Portland Timbers, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Charleston Battery. People are like, sure. You know,
I would argue that people in Philadelphia are aware of the Philadelphia Union. I would argue
but
that people in LA know that LA Galaxy exists.
I'm for the MLS, yes, but I'm talking about these USL Championship teams that are going into these cities. I can't tell you how many people do you think for Philadelphia know who the Indy 11 is?
Oh, in Philadelphia?
Yeah,
probably nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
you know, we're USL
well,
Championship.
okay,
we're the highest level of USL soccer. But
I get
who are
that
these
part of
guys
it.
coming in from Indianapolis?
I get
They're not
that.
going to know that.
I get that.
I mean, it seems like a glorified scrimmage from what I would feel is if I was a fan looking at that matchup.
Nathan and I aren't arguing with you. We're in 100% agreement. Which we're just like defining the point.
I don't think that way. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm being teamed up on right now.
Well,
I'm just kidding. No,
crack open the bottle, crack open the spiritless, and see what happens.
Again, people in Philadelphia know who Philadelphia Union are.
Yes.
And so the game is in Philadelphia. This game isn't in Indy. It's in Philadelphia. So in Philadelphia, these fans know this team. And any youth organization, club team, whatever, they're all well aware of this organization. And they probably play state championships there. They probably play other games there. So the fact that this game wouldn't have a sellout crowd is, to be fair to me, again, it's astounding to me that you can't get 20,000 people to go to a game in which the team, regardless of who's playing on that team tonight, which we all know that the rubber match of a Major League Baseball game is filled with a bunch of, non-roster, whatever, backups. You have new players in for the rubber match of a 3-game series. You don't have like your best players. They're taking the day, right? They're going to get themselves recovered, right? I mean, so this is not. So I understand, but we still see 7,000 people go to a baseball game to watch the backups play.
But 7,000 people in a stadium that holds 40 to 45, it looks like nothing. I mean, look at Chicago, the White Sox. My God! And just the other day, Cleveland was playing Minnesota at home, and on Sunday they won. They took the series. I could have counted how many people were in that stadium on my hands. And Cleveland has the smallest stadium in Major League Baseball, and nobody goes. And it's also just take your individual experience, both Nate and John. If let's just say the Lions, let's go to the big boy, the NFL. if the Jaguars are coming to Ford Field versus the Packers coming to Ford Field, who are you going to go see? Who are you going to spend your money on? You have one game to go to. Are you going to go to Jacksonville or are you going to go to the Packers? You're going to go see the Packers. It's not even close. And that's what happens is like people pick and choose if in Philadelphia, if they know they're going to play, let's say, New York Red Bulls the week after, they're going to wait to go to see that one, not the Indy 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the Lakers are hosting someone from the American Basketball Association and LeBron isn't playing and Luka isn't playing and all these guys aren't playing and they called up a bunch of guys from the G League and they're getting their guys who get 2-3 minutes a game, they're getting those guys reps. It could be a tournament, it could be a single elimination game, but no one is really going to be all that invested because of that fact alone. I mean, let's think about it this way, right? The NBA has an in-season tournament. I don't even know if most people know that, but teams are not invested. Those are single elimination games. That
These games, though,
actually they are. I will defend that they are invested because they get an incentive for it. They get $1 million bucks. They get $1 million if they win
for the team. Yeah.
All right, let's just, for argument's sake, I just Googled this. Okay, this is the ticket prices for tomorrow night's game. Okay,
The
here they
city's
are.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. So to sit in like this section right down here near the freaking field is $28. Okay, these tickets are not. It's like $10 to get in the stadium. $11. Take your family $50 to go watch a high level soccer game on a Tuesday, Wednesday night. It's nothing.
What are you guys
I
doing
mean,
tomorrow?
The problem for me is we have games, but
Oh.
that damn soccer fan that I am, I'm not even going to go. What a jerk I am. But no, I mean, like, but my point though is these tickets are outrageous. They're like $11. It's like, again, baseball tickets right now in this country. You can get into a baseball game in most stadiums for about $12 a person. You know, I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, maybe $20 a person. Maybe that's more likely. But I mean, obviously, you go into like a hockey game, a basketball game, or a football game. You're talking about spending, your whole nest egg. You know, you're gonna blow all of it. They used to say save what? It was like a half year salary or something like that for an engagement ring. Now it's a half year salary to save up for a Lions ticket. So it's like, it's like the same thing, right? So they are very affordable to get in the stadium, right? So it's not. I don't think it's a money thing. I don't think it's. And again, yes, we could argue that there are basketball games. I don't know if the basketball is drawing as much as it used to in the past. I don't know, but maybe it is drawing But I still think that like markets like New York obviously are going to kill it, and LA are going to kill it because of their they have huge markets. But I don't think Philadelphia doesn't still have a team in the 76ers aren't playing in the playoffs, right? They're not in it.
No.
Yeah. So okay, we're not like they're not that battle isn't going to happen. So I mean, what else is going on tomorrow night in Philadelphia? I mean,
Still celebrating the Super Bowl.
oh yeah,
And
okay.
I think
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey has his
Maybe that's what they
podcast
should do. Maybe
tomorrow
that's what they should
too.
do. Maybe what they should do is they should just parade out all the Philadelphia Eagles onto the Union Field tomorrow and have them just play in place of all their players. Maybe they'll get everyone will
See,
show up then.
it's funny because you're saying that you're saying it sarcastically, but
Wait,
why the hell not?
why not?
Really, why wouldn't
Why not?
Philadelphia say, "Listen, let's take the bread and butter of our city and see if we can't get a few." But it doesn't have to be Jalen Hurts. It doesn't have to be Saquon Barkley. Get some of the guys who. But if they say Philadelphia Eagles are going to be there, people will go.
Right.
Not.
What are you doing? What are you doing outside of there's a soccer game, so you should come watch? What are you doing to bring them in?
Oh, they have fireworks tomorrow night after the game.
Okay,
There's
that's
fireworks.
cool. That's fine. That's fine. Okay,
Actually, I have no idea if there's
I'll
fireworks
give
or
you
not.
that.
There's not fireworks. I can tell you that. There's
But
not fireworks. Philadelphia is not like, hey guys, let's go spend 13 grand on a hell of a fireworks show for the 8 people that are going to show up tomorrow. That's not going to happen.
So that's the other side.
I want to know I want to know in the comments. You're watching this. People watching this. What are your thoughts on empty stadiums for U.S. Open Cup games? I mean, there's still empty stadiums for MLS games too. And and while Apple TV has done, I guess, a good job producing broadcasts, nobody watches them. So their numbers are atrocious. I don't know how that Apple TV deal is going to continue on because nobody's watching those games. So, I mean, to ask people to pay $100 a season to watch the MLS, I mean, people don't want to do that. I mean, access.
Actually,
If
if you
you're
have
making it,
T-Mobile, you get it for free.
yes, but you also have to use your T-Mobile thing in time in order to get it to work. Otherwise, you don't get it. So, you know,
I missed out
right?
last year. I missed out on MLB Network because of that.
Yeah.
I tried to swindle myself back into like, nope,
But
it ended.
let's be honest though. Like, how does that work, right? What does that deal look like? What so is T-Mobile like not paying for advertising then? And or like I mean, how does that because how does that work for Apple TV where you're just
Well,
giving a bunch of subscribers access to your platform?
you have T-Mobile, right?
I do.
How many MLS games have you watched on Apple Plus? Oh, yeah.
But they gotta show up. Come on, soccer fans, wake up.
I
Do
have
as
a
I
better
say, not
excuse
as I
than
do.
I have a better excuse than most.
I know. I
I
know.
produce I produce a lot of content, so I get to have the pass, okay? But but access access if you make it hard, people aren't gonna come by. They're just not okay. And again, if we go back to this game in Philadelphia, for example, tomorrow, is it hard for for a mom or dad for a high school kid, a teenager, to grab their buddies and go watch a soccer game? It's not
That's up
hard.
to Philadelphia, though. That's up to Philly to make it like kids night or local high school soccer team night. Announce it as that to draw those people in. They're just not going to go. It's
Well, the
easy in
problem might
hindsight
be
to do
again.
it.
It might be again because you know you got spring sports and that obviously a thing too, right? Where you know you're trying to compete. Hey, it's a Wednesday night, so if kids are playing soccer, they can't be there anyways, and of course their parents can't be there, right? That's another conundrum in this. These midweek games can be a problem
Yeah.
because you know people are doing, you know, they're playing soccer, they're actually in the sport. So I know that I said that earlier, but it is the case too. But I don't know how many season ticket holders there are in Philadelphia. Okay, I would argue that well, in order to get an MLS team, you had to have had, I think, like upwards of 10,000 season ticket holders already like pre-purchased before you could even become like eligible like to be a team. And so you would argue that they have probably 10,000 season ticket holders, right? And if you're going to be a season ticket holder of an MLS team, you know, as much as it is about the team, it's about the sport and about the environment, right? I actually believe, to be fair, that most of the average fans today in the football who are going to games are not actually full on fans of
No,
football.
it's an
They just like
experience.
it's
It's
an
an experience.
experience, right?
Yep.
Like they're just going. It's an insane amount of money. So it's a bougie kind of thing now, where
Corporate.
it used to be the beer gut, you know, guy, you know, with
The
the
dog
hat.
pound,
With
baby.
the hat, where they had the beer come in their mouth, right? And then fights just breaking out in the stadium because you know that's my team. When you know none of this, you know, whatever you see these fights now
Corporate
that make no
suites.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the same environment. And as a matter of fact, I know that when I had friends who went to the Lions game for the playoffs, they're like, yeah, it just didn't seem like the same environment
Hmm.
because it costs so much money to get in that you're literally eliminating a whole group of people who would give their left arm to be in that environment, but they couldn't afford to do it. You know, and so but these soccer environments aren't like that. But if you ever go to a soccer game, if you ever go to one, an MLS game, a Detroit City FC game, that environment, I've been a part of a lot of sporting environments, and there is nothing like a soccer environment in the professional world. There's nothing. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable experience. And I hate the fact that I hate the fact that we don't we don't see crowds in these environments. It just drives me nuts. And but we'll have to kind of save that for conversation for another day because
Before
we
we
are
part,
over.
because John, I know you're in a very bad mood right now, and I don't want to tip back that whole bottle of spiritless Kentucky 74. But I've brought gifts. I brought gifts, and we'll get them in the mail. Is that courtesy of our friends at FC Pride?
Oh, nice, nice.
I got one for you, Nathan. I got one for you,
Let's go.
and then for the wife, JT.
Sick.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
So
Appreciate you.
great people over there. Shannon Coleman, God bless her.
No hats, no
Um,
t-shirts.
For me,
JT's like, where's everything else?
it's in my closet.
Where's my
I went
coffee
home.
mug?
I went home with a boat. I even got a Christmas ornament in my little
Wow.
care package.
Wow.
But
Well, that's awesome.
very excited about that. FC Pride, they kick off their women's schedule on May 16th on the National Soccer Network, and then they play back to back because the men's start their season. They play back to back on the 17th and the 18th. So very excited about that. It's going to be very cool.
We have got to wrap this show up. I got to get rolling. But hey, guys, thank you very much. A great conversation. We'll be back at this again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. That's Nathan Wangler. That's John Natale. I'm Jonathan Turner. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Inside the Game.
Have a good one, everybody.
This has been a presentation of the National Soccer Network.